Yes. Sandy, let me welcome you back to the program then, and let's talk a little bit more about UNESCO and United Nations and World Heritage Sites.
Mm. Yes, I mean, obviously, my first slide here is really the fact that UNESCO really are the umbrella organisation for World Heritage, and I did pick up a couple of their things at this consultation, and they do have a policy document, and it's all integrated with the sustainable development perspective. And it's all tied up with that they meet once a year, and they say they have World Heritage Site is a duty on the state party, and it is achieved through appropriate policies in the development plan of a local authority, and whose parts are of a management plan. And I started looking at what state party means, and actually it's all about transferring the power from the people of an area into the state, into either their government or the United Nations, and how linked up they are with the WWF, which is quite concerning because the WWF has quite a history of colonialism, which I'll go into a little bit later. But really, what it means, a state party is a nation state that signed and ratified the World Heritage Convention. In this case, it means the United Kingdom government, but actually they are answerable to the United Nations at the end of the day. So they can do what they like. So really, unfortunately, what we've seen in certain World Heritage sites that have been taken over throughout the world, and particularly sacred sites, you've found the displacement of indigenous people. In Kenya, we found it. The Maasai in Africa. They were accused in 2022 of violent removals and the destruction of homes and grazing bans to meet, conservation targets and tourism. I mean, this is just unbelievable what goes on, and it's all in the name of conservation. In Australia, in Uluru, the same thing has happened. Spiritual significance was sidelined in favour of international narratives and tourism, cultural tokenism versus genuine indigenous control. So it's happened in Nepal, it's happened in India. And when you look at the link between the WWF and they are linked. I mean, although they're different entities, all of their frameworks interlink. And we've got the founder members of the WWF. Of course, we've got we've got obviously Prince Philip and Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands, and Julian Huxley. Now, all of these were eugenicists, colonialists, who actually were really, and two of them involved quite heavily in the Nazi Party. So we've got this real colonial thing going on, and it's interesting when Prince Philip died, Ruchir Sharma said he'd taken a keen interest in sorry, I've lost my slide.
Yeah, I'll read it out here. He had taken a keen interest in religion and conservation, despite dispatching a 2.5-meter tiger with a single shot on an official visit to India in 1961.
It was 1961.
Yeah, the same year he became president of the World Wildlife Fund UK.
Yeah, and there is another slide of him with that tiger. In 1961, shot in Jaipur. Now, these people it really is about money, and the whole tourism thing with the WWF is all about financializing nature. This is what they're doing all over the world, and now we've got the whole carbon thing intertwined with that, with the greenwashing. So we're seeing a land grab of massive proportions with WHS. Yeah.
Yeah, and we shouldn't, Sandy, we shouldn't forget that Prince Philip began the whole conservation part of this
Yep.
as far as the royal family is concerned, but Prince Charles, and now King Charles, has absolutely continued that legacy. And despite the fact that he said just prior to his coronation that he would be giving up the political activism, he absolutely has not given that up in any way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You got any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is it. It's tracing how far back it goes, but also the identification of the key part of it, which was money, and specifically other people's money. And we go back to the now King, then Prince of Wales, giving his address in Wales in 1970, talking about people effectively becoming fed up with the subject of what was then ecology. And saying that not only do they need a sort of buzzing PR campaign around it, but they also need to find a way in which to sling the bill around somebody else's neck. And here we are, 50 plus years on, and we see that that is exactly what has been prosecuted. So it was very, very cleverly done, and continues to be so because, of course, the vast majority of people do and will go along with it.
Yes.